What's up guys, this is Jeff from Sorta Healthy, and today we have a pretty different type of video lined up for you. Instead of talking about programming or how to run a training business, today we'll be talking about fitness myths that you as a health and fitness professional should not repeat to your clients. Average everyday people look to us for reliable information on health and wellness. In today's world, companies and influencers are constantly bombarding all of us with false and oftentimes harmful advice. They do this because there's a lot of money to be made by lying to the masses. People are sensitive when it comes to losing weight, improving their physique, or pretty much anything else physical. Because they are sensitive, they're also impressionable and more easily influenced. Basically, most people don't logically think about improving their health. They only think about health and fitness related things emotionally. On top of that, oftentimes influencers and companies will offer easy, fake solutions to challenging problems. If I'm trying to lose weight, maybe they have a pill that's going to rev up my metabolism. If I'm trying to gain muscle mass, maybe they have a new compound or product that's going to help me out with that. Of course, all this stuff is garbage. Many people know this, but also many don't. My audience is far smaller than influencers who will continue to spread bad information to pretty much everyone, but that doesn't mean that I won't fight the good fight and put out as much good information as I can. Today's video really isn't about me though. It's about you and your clients. Will you be one of those fake influencers who's trying to sell your clients some BS? Or will you be one of the true health professionals that recommends things that are rooted in science? The choice is yours. On that note, let's get specific on some of the biggest fitness myths that you shouldn't tell your clients, and we'll also cover some strategies on how to deal with clients who've already bought into some of these myths. Before we get into all of that, all I ask is that you consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. This is the best way to help support this channel, which is a free resource to all fitness professionals. Thank you for the support, everyone. I really appreciate it. So I have 5 fitness myths that we'll mainly be focusing on today, but I have a few kind of runner-up myths as well. My first runner-up myth that you shouldn't spread any further is that doing fasted cardio is somehow superior to any other form of cardio when it comes to weight loss. This one sounds cool in theory, but is not proven to be true in actual practice. It didn't make my actual list today because I don't think it's harmful in any way. It's just not superior for weight loss like some people would have you believe. My next runner-up myth is that if you eat after a certain hour, usually somewhere around 6 or 7 p.m., that everything you eat after that point will be stored as fat. I see the logic here, but that's just not how it works. Your weight and fat mass will be determined by your total caloric balance, not just what you do or don't eat towards the later part of the night. Those calories eaten towards the end of the day don't show to increase fat mass any more than calories elsewhere in the day if portions are equal. This one I don't really think is all that harmful though, and if I do get a client who really believes in this, I don't typically fight them on it. If the average person is going to eat food late at night or even kind of later in the evening, well, typically that food is going to be junk food. So this myth, although false, can help to prevent your clients from eating some extra bad food. Therefore, as fitness pros, we can let this myth slide. It's not that bad. My next myth is problematic, but it's not problematic enough to make the cut, and it has to do with toning and spot reducing. I think most people understand that you can't spot reduce fat in 2021. When you lose weight, it comes off somewhat randomly due to your genetics, age, gender, and some other factors too. You don't get to choose where it comes off, and you can't spot reduce. Like me doing a whole bunch of core exercises isn't going to help me slim my waist, only losing more fat mass is going to help with that. Again, in 2021, I actually think most people already know this. What they don't really understand is the whole toning phenomenon. Toning in itself is kind of a myth. You can't turn fat mass into muscle mass. When people say they want to be toned, what they actually want is a lean physique. They almost always want to lose a little bit of fat mass and gain a little bit of lean muscle mass. These are two different processes, but luckily, when working with the average person, we can work on both of these two different things at the same time. Another problem with toning is that it's become synonymous with very high rep, ineffective exercises that aren't the best way to achieve the lean and somewhat muscular physique that people want. The best way to do that is to lose fat mass by being in a caloric deficit, and then also to do a traditional strength and conditioning program. This will be the best way to help the average person lose some fat mass and gain a little bit of muscle mass. This myth didn't make the cut though because it's not really all that harmful, just kind of annoying. Okay, so now we're on to the real myths, and these myths are in no particular order today. Our first one is that lifting heavy will make you bulky. This myth is bad for a few reasons. The first reason that it's bad is that, of course, it's just simply not true. The only thing that will make you bulky is an excess of calories. Another part of this myth that is harmful is that it encourages less effective lifting methods. We as trainers know that there are rep ranges that are considered to be more effective for certain goals. If someone is purely focused on strength, eventually they're going to have to lift heavy. They'll probably be doing 5 reps or less for the big compound movements on a regular basis. If someone is focused on gaining muscle mass, they'll spend a lot of their time doing 8 to 12 rep exercises, maybe leaving 1 or 2 reps in reserve, or going to failure depending on the lift. If someone is focused on muscular endurance, they'll likely do at least 12 reps, maybe up to 20-ish reps on the high end of things. Doing anything over that rep range, and this is where we get back to toning a little bit, is probably not a very effective way to lift, relatively speaking. Again, most people want the lean look, and the best way to achieve that is to lose some fat mass and add some muscle mass. Having extra muscle mass helps to keep your metabolism elevated, so having a little bit of extra muscle mass on your frame is pretty much always a good thing. Very often I'll sign on female clients who tell me they want to look toned, but not bulky. They also say that they don't want to lift too heavy because that will make them bulky. To these clients I say, for us to reach your goals, we have to do 2 things simultaneously. 1, we have to help you achieve a little bit of weight loss or a reduction in fat mass, and 2, we also have to help you gain a little bit of muscle mass, and gaining a few pounds of muscle mass will not make you look bulky. We change up our programming about every 6 weeks, so sometimes you'll be lifting pretty heavy, and sometimes you won't be. Becoming bulky, as in muscular bulky, is actually not an easy thing to achieve. That takes a lot of effort, even more so for women. Our program will not cause that for you in any way, shape, or form. Get ready to have similar conversations with your own clients. My next myth is that you have to be super sore after a workout to get results. This one, of course, is also not true. After some workouts you will be sore, and after other workouts you won't be sore. When your client is first beginning an exercise program with you, there's a good chance that they're going to be pretty sore those first few weeks. As their bodies get used to working out, this soreness will diminish. That being said, you should also be making their workouts harder over time, which could and should continue to cause muscle soreness on a semi-regular basis. The problem here is that muscle soreness does not equal a good workout. And there are many studies that I could share to back this up. We'll just look at one from 2013, which found that muscles in your shoulders do not experience the same degree of muscle soreness compared to other muscle groups, such as those located in the legs and lower body. So if you happen to do a lot of shoulder work with a client, but they weren't that sore afterwards, it doesn't mean that their workout was any less effective. I suspect that this applies to many different muscle groups, not just the shoulders, and is likely a little bit different for every person. So again, all in all, muscle soreness does not equal a good workout. Your clients are going to be sore after some workouts and not sore after others. Let them know that this is normal, and also it's not the best indicator of how effective their workout was. The next myth we have is the most damaging one in my opinion, and I think it's a little bit sad that we've gotten to this point. The myth that calories in and calories out doesn't work for weight loss is what I am referring to here. Not only does calories in and calories out work, but it is in fact the only way to lose weight. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to count calories to lose weight, but you do need to be in a caloric deficit to lose weight. Whether you're doing the keto diet, intermittent fasting, paleo, or whatever else, you will not lose weight unless you are in a caloric deficit. And this is something that you will absolutely need to get across to your clients early on. This is hard because there's a decent chance that they've already been brainwashed into thinking that there is a superior way of eating that will solve their problems without them having to reduce their portions. This isn't true, and there are now meta-analysis or studies of studies that compare a bunch of these popular diets, and they pretty much all show that as long as you're in a caloric deficit, you'll lose weight. No type of diet is really superior. The best diet is the one that you can stick to long term. Let me also say that I don't have a problem with keto, paleo, vegan, or any other type of diet. People can absolutely be healthy and lose weight with pretty much any type of eating plan. So how do we convince our clients that the only way to lose weight is by being in a caloric deficit? Well, I have had a few instances where clients did push back against this. Being in a caloric deficit is hard, and people want easy solutions, even if they're not real. If I have someone who's really stubborn about being in a caloric deficit, but they do want to lose weight, I'll oftentimes do my best to try and meet them somewhere in the middle. Maybe they're really into the low carb thing. That's fine. If I get someone like that, I'll help them stick to that diet as best as I can. Of course, I'll still make sure to recommend reducing portion sizes as often as appropriate if they're not getting the results that they're after. My next myth is that there is a perfect way to work out. I included this one because I'll very oftentimes talk with clients and they'll have like a very specific way of working out that they think is the only way for them to get good results. This really isn't true. Any workout routine that progressively gets harder over time and does certain key things correctly should be effective. I'll oftentimes sign on clients who want to do a very specific workout split. split. Maybe they only want to do push-pull legs. Maybe they only want to do total body workouts every time that they come in. It doesn't really matter. The mistake is in believing that only one of these things can be effective. This extends beyond workout splits though. I have a client right now that only wants to do bench press a very specific way. She wants to do 3 sets, no more, no less, and she wants to start at the same weight every time, and she wants to add 5 pounds to the lift for each of those 3 sets. Before this client started working out with me and my other trainers here, she was working out at a different facility, and she worked out at the other facility for a really long time, and that's how they pretty much always did bench press with her. And in some ways, this way of training is totally fine. What's not ideal is only training this way and never changing up the reps, the weights, the time under tension, all the other variables that exist. I have tons of examples of clients doing stuff like this with exercise and dietary stuff as well, but I'll let you use your imagination for the rest. My point here is that even though there are some ideal ways to lift, which include things like doing a routine composed of mostly compound movements, there are multiple ways to help clients achieve their goals. The best thing to do if you get a client like I just described is to pick your battles. With my client who's stuck in her ways on the bench, I do train her the way she likes, but I also do switch up her starting weight and her reps on some days. Of course, I do let her know that I'm doing this. I don't want it to be a surprise. And I'm not gonna lie, over time, for the most part, she has grown to appreciate it. Your clients will too, so always try to find a good compromise. Our last myth for today is a good one for us to discuss because my audience nowadays is almost entirely composed of other health and fitness professionals. This myth will apply to your clients more than you, the person watching this video, because you're likely more physically capable than the average person, or your clients for that matter. This last myth is that the average person will be able to out-exercise a bad diet. It will be possible for an average person to out-exercise a bad diet and lose weight, but it will be incredibly hard for them to actually do so. To lose weight and keep it off, almost everyone will have to decrease their portion sizes, at least a little bit, possibly more, and increase their activity level. A combination of both works best because exercise helps to keep your metabolism working efficiently. It also helps you to add or keep muscle mass on your frame, which also helps with staying lean. It also helps with sleep and stress, and the list goes on. Make no mistake though, diet is more important when it comes to weight loss. You would really have to work very hard to out-exercise a bad diet if you're an average 40-something-year-old person. If that same 40-something-year-old person simply eats 500 calories less a day, they will likely lose about a pound a week, assuming everything else stays the same. Of course, it would be very, very unpleasant to simply eat less food all of the time, at least for most of us. This again is where exercise comes in. It does give you more wiggle room when it comes to staying in that caloric deficit. Your client won't have to be as hungry all the time. On days where they're more active, they can eat a little bit more food. Being active just makes your body work better too, including your body's ability to lose weight, but we already talked about that. And I like ending on this myth because it sheds light on all of the value that we offer. Skilled personal trainers are the professionals best suited to help people make the right nutrition and fitness choices. We are the true health and fitness professionals. We are not the BS influencers out there trying to make a quick buck. We're here to try and legitimately improve people's lives. And that's all we have for today, everyone. Do any of you have any good fitness myths that you'd like to share? If you do, let me know down below. And as always, if you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel because that does help the channel to grow, which allows me to create more free content for all of you. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And until next time, stay sorta healthy.